Okay, terrific. I wasn't sure if there's still a heat wave out over there.
No, it's been spectacular. Almost feels like fall, actually.
Oh, okay. That sounds terrific.
I love it.
So, hey, tell me how you were attracted to this script.
Well, it was really a practical situation. I went in to pitch some low-budget movies to Chiller for their TV show. And, I had a number of projects by other directors that I was supporting and excited about. And in the end, Chiller pulled this out of the drawer and said, well, would you guys consider making this movie? So I read it, and I thought, well, I'd like to direct this one because, it's been a while since I've made a film, and I'm trying to raise money for some somewhat challenging projects. And here was a project they obviously wanted me to make or wanted to get made, and I said I would do it. I just like the simplicity of the story. I love giant monsters of any kind, and it just seemed like a really fun opportunity with a low budget, but some budget.
That begs the question about the script is, why a catfish? I mean, especially a man-eating catfish, nonetheless.
Well, that's just the way it ends up looking. I designed something that was pretty badass on paper, and, it's interesting. The profile of the fish is really awesome, but, of course, what you can't entirely anticipate is what angles are really going to end up being practical, and so it sort of emphasizes the catfish element. But, I never intended to make a fierce-looking creature. I wanted to just observe that nature creates menace in all kinds of guises, and so it wasn't about trying to make a monster that looked evil, which would have been one way to go, of course. Mm-hmm. I don't really see the fish as particularly evil. It's just behaving as a natural creature would do, and then the story becomes about the kids, their response to this menace, and also it's kind of scary if you're being kind of chewed on by something that looks a little goofy, so it was never too distressing to me that it didn't have furrowed eyes and, all of that.
What was it? Was it described as a catfish in the original script, or was that kind of like much more your idea?
Well, I didn't design it as a catfish. It may look like one, but it's actually a component of lots of different types of fishes. As for the script, I feel it just, it had the whole concept of the spear in being seen in the water, and it wasn't carefully described. It was mostly about the size and that it was hungry.
Now, I understand that the design of the fish is sort of like an homage to Jaws. In fact, that you use animatronics rather than CGI to design the fish.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't just Jaws. It's every movie I grew up with. I'm an older guy, and when I watched movies, the creatures were often not entirely convincing, but somehow they had an essence, and you knew there was someone in a suit or something was being controlled in the physical world, all the way to effects like in The Thing, John Carpenter's movie, all the great werewolf effects from the 80s. All of this stuff has a tactile element, and it was never any question in my mind that's what we would do with this. Also, to CGI water, which you'd have to do if you made a water creature, is just, we're talking about expenses beyond the budget, and aesthetically I wanted something that was going to interact with the water. Obviously in the long term, you're making a movie with a giant creature with big jaws, you're going to, there's always going to bring to mind that movie, which was my favorite film ever, so I was perfectly comfortable with that. And when I was little, I loved sharks, and I saw Jaws, and I knew the fish was fake looking, but it still was incredibly evocative to the imagination, and that's always been my approach with special effects, not being as obsessed with the realism of it, but more the vibe.
So when you built this, the monster, how many people was manning it, and was it difficult to create this underwater?
Yeah, it was very hard. They were just two guys. It was built in L.A. and I live in New York, so that was already its own problem. I couldn't go in and poke the clay and get exactly every detail as I imagined it. We had to talk through photographs, but once it was delivered, it was just a spectacular presence, this funny big robot fish. It was as simple as it could be, and I had wanted it even simpler, but it still was just basically two guys. They'd set up a line, and then they pulled a fish along it, and there was some propulsion, and there was different issues of ballast. They had basically ping pong balls in stockings, and they'd pull out a little bundle of these fish, of the ping pong balls, and those things would create whether the fish was high in the water or low in the water. So it was all very low tech. And these two guys were great. They were puppeteers. They've been in showbiz forever and had stories of working with Cameron on The Abyss and various, flipper kind of movies, and they've done all kinds of stuff. It would take several hours for the fish to even come from shore to the barge where we were shooting, and we'd sort of lollygag it around, and then we'd set up a shot and we'd try to get it a few times. I have an intimate knowledge of the problems they had on Jaws, and it really is the same kind of thing. It's funny, you're just trying to get one image, one of several maybe, that makes a scene, and that takes a huge effort, and it's not like you say, okay, now fish do this. That takes a whole amount of resetting and new wires and new pulleys and cranks, so it's ridiculously laborious and eats up your time, so you have to be very strategic.
Yeah, which comes to mind. A lot of when I was watching your film, a lot of the stuff you went with more of the old school special effects rather than CGI, which like a lot of newer films tend to do. Why did you go that direction?
It appealed to me. As I say, I wanted to see that fish interacting with the water, and it's very hard to do good water CGI. Or it has been in the past, and even now when you see it done well, like in Pacific Rim, there's a lot of money behind that. It's an aesthetic thing. Every director brings something personal to the film they're making, and you could have done a cool CGI fish, but I think people would have felt that. And, CGI isn't really that cheap, even though it seems to be a very controlled element. So, that was my choice.
Well, what about the blood and guts?
Well, that was done by Brian Spears. He's an effects artist who's done a lot of stuff for us, and he built a beautiful arm that gets ripped off of somebody, and all of that was also practical. It's just my instinct to go with practical effects. And then nowadays what's cool is you can enhance them further with some CGI. We worked on the fish eyeball with CGI, so there is a little computer work in there as well.
Okay. Now the setting is a lake. Where is this place?
We filmed in Connecticut, in Oxford, Connecticut, and it was actually quite hard to find a lake that we could take over during the summer. Most of the working lakes, people want to swim, and we were hardly able to shut anything down. But this was an old reservoir that was not used much, and we built a barge in the middle of this lake, and that's where we would have to boat out to the barge every day and have our picture boats, and we had a crane on the barge, and we used that to film as efficiently as possible. They say shooting on water takes twice as long as shooting on land, and that's absolutely the case. Everything, even going to the bathroom, requires a boat, and you have to flag it down, and you can't make waves if you're shooting the shots, and on and on and on.
So what was the most difficult thing about filming for this production?
The most difficult thing was getting the boats to sink and to become increasingly dangerous without endangering everyone involved. So, it was just, there's different ways to make movies, and I had a professional crew, and everybody was mindful of the safety. You don't want to make a movie where you have to say, dedicate it to some crew member who got drowned. So,
Yeah.
in an effort to be safe, and I would say the hardest thing was to convey some of the dangerous elements of the story, like the sinking boat and all of that. There's some great shots at the end that I'm very proud of, but they took a long time to get, and I would have loved to have more of it. So, look, it's all difficult. I've never been as aware of the weather as I have been on this shoot, and I filmed in Iceland with the snow. I filmed in lots of exotic places, but every morning you'd wake up and you'd look at the clouds and you'd pray that you would have a full day of shooting, because any thread of lightning and you have to get off the water, and as I've told you, that's an hour of people shuffling back and forth. So, the hardest thing was the weather.
Wow, that seems kind of complicated. Hey, could you talk about your cast for your movie? Why did you choose these persons?
Oh, I had a great audition process. We had the script, and everybody, we sent word out to the local agents that we had this film, and we were able to cast through auditions, and then we'd have another audition, and we really built it up very carefully, and that was my favorite element of the film, was the cast. They were taking what were pretty cliche characters and bringing a real humanity to them, in my opinion, and that's really what the movie's focused on, besides obviously the pleasure of watching a giant fish swimming around. However, effectively, is the real story is about these kids and what they get up to. So, then, some of them, Bonnie Dennison had been in a movie of ours called Stakeland. So I had always liked her work in that movie.
Uh-huh.
When she came up for the audition, I was delighted to see her in the role of Kitty. But the other guys were all brought in by Lois Strapkin, our casting lady, and it was really fun. It's an interesting thing, we had a lot of video auditions from LA, and I'm sure there were some smart kids out there, but it can make such a difference to be in the room with these guys, and you can give them a little direction and see how they work. Anyway, they were all great.
Now, there was an interesting way of promoting your project. It looks like you guys used different media, such as trying to go viral with Tumblr or even with a comic book. Did you see that media promotions?
Yeah, it's just my nature. It's what I enjoy doing with stories, is sort of think about other ways to talk about the themes and so on. Like, we had a comic book that kind of tells some of the backstory of the fish and maybe gives some more history, and if you read the comic, you kind of get up to speed as to where the tooth came from and all of that. So it's fun. It's just a way to immerse the viewer into the entire world. And then we had videos made as if by the kids, as if one of the kids in the movie had like a blog or something.
Yeah.
And you can explore that if you're interested. It's obviously not required for the movie itself, but it extends the world. And the thing about the blog that I found interesting is that it's not so much, it may not be effective to ramp into the film, but if you like the movie and you're kind of curious, you go back and you see these kids in more innocent times, and it's just a little bit more chilling to think, oh, they're just like every other kid, making videos of each other, but look what happened to them. So, I just like, for me, the horror genre is about the existential questions of, what is life all about, and sort of shades of regret, and basically scary things, and that all plays into my sense of, like, you have your normal life, and then something frightening happens, and it's that intrusion into everyday life. So that's what these videos mean to me, and they're like a promotional element. I always like to delve into different mediums when you get into making a film. I mean, when I was growing up, the poster for a movie was very important because it might be the only thing you could revisit. You know, we didn't have video and DVD. You just might be able to buy the poster and think about that movie you loved, or you'd see a photo in a fan magazine, and that was the best you'll ever. Even when Jaws came out, there were only 2 little books about it with little teeny black and white photos, and it was all very enticing, you see.
Yeah, that's true. I remember all those myself.
Yeah, so there was a little more scarcity, and that made life more, more precious. All these things. So I still live in a world where I love to have the little additional ancillary things like trading cards or whatever. All these little things that you can collect and they get lost in the drawer, and you pull out one day and go, "Oh yeah, that movie."
Yeah. Now, one of the most noticeable characters, I believe it was Zeke with his GoPro camera.
Yeah.
Which basically he was recording it. One of the things that you could have easily went with was sort of a found footage type of thing. Why didn't you go that route?
Well, actually, we did go the opposite route. We really made it a much more formalistic movie, which is still my preference. I find that found footage, which can be exciting, and it has been done well in many different ways, like Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity. But it's funny because there's also an element of breaking down the filmmaking, and I also am a school of Hitchcock, and I love the idea of the design of a movie. So I was much more into, designing this thriller or suspense, whatever you would call this particular movie. And then the nice thing was to have the GoPro footage in there.
Mm-hmm.
Still is a nod to the world we're in, which is where everybody's recording everything all the time, and there is sort of a found footage element to life now. But it exists in the real world. So if you think of the film, the cinema part of the movie as the real world, well then the found footage interacts, but it's not the only way you see life. And then in the end, of course, the found footage actually has a purpose. It's basically condemned the kids by leaving a record of what they did. So in that case, it actually has a story element as well.
Yeah, that is true. Now, the overall story actually reminded me of a short film that came out of the 80s. I'm not even sure if you're familiar with it. It's something called Creepshow 2.
Oh, no, dude. I thought you were going to say The Raft. I'm so excited.
No, it is The Raft out of Creepshow 2, right?
Oh, you said Creepshow 2. I thought you said something in Japanese, and I thought, what an interesting discovery. What's he talking about?
No, Creepshow 2, yeah.
Creepshow, yeah, exactly. It's very much reminiscent of The Raft. I mean, as you know, I didn't write the script, so I have no idea if they were influenced by that, but clearly they did in a short film what we take a whole feature to do.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's a great short, and we all remember it. I think it's certainly the best thing in Creepshow 2, and it's really just got a very, even though the effects, once again, that's an example of where the effects are just sort of weird in 80s, but the whole thing is really haunting.
No, I agree. I remember watching that short film. I was afraid to get in the water. Now I watch this one. Thank you very much. Now I'm afraid to swim in the lake.
Exactly, and I can't swim in the ocean because of Jaws, so I'm really screwed. And I can't take a shower because of Psycho.
That's pretty good. So you know what? Your film is effective to me. Anyways, just to wrap this up, do you have any projects that you have coming up for yourself?
Well, I never talk about my upcoming movies because it's always so tentative whether they'll happen or not. But I have several things I'm trying to get off the ground, and just very, very eager to direct again. And of course, I also produce films and am involved in things in other ways, and so that's ongoing as well.
Okay, that sounds pretty awesome. I also noticed that you were also an actor in a movie called Jugface that's actually coming up soon.
Absolutely. Opens on Friday in select theaters and continues on VOD. So check out Jugface. It's a really nice film.
Yeah.
Nice may not be the word.
No, I interviewed the director Kinkle on that one last month. So.
Oh, awesome, man! That's great. He's a lovely guy. And I'm also in your next briefly.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I actually screened that. What were you in that movie? Were you
I'm
one of the
first guy who gets his girlfriend gets killed, and then I'm the corpse.
Oh, terrific!
I'm the corpse in the towel the whole time. She's crawling around, getting attacked.
Oh,
That was fun. When you just spend a day, you show up, and all you do is lie there with your eyes open.
no, it's just funny. It seems like for that movie, all the directors from those VHS and ABCs of Death were in that movie.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of great directors, Joe Swanberg, Ty West, they're all in it. It's fun. It was a really cool low-budget project, and it's just gotten a nice big release, so we're all looking forward to that.
Yeah, I understand that took a while. And just out of curiosity, do you love doing horror movies?
Yeah, I really, that is my home turf. I just feel that I like shaking people up and making them think about how precious daily life is, and reminding them of all the terrible things that could be happening to them. Sort of a way of saying, enjoy what you have. It may not last.
That is awesome. Well, I thank you for your time for this interview.
Cool, very good, man.
Okay, and hopefully I'll catch you again during your next project.
Absolutely, I may it happen soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks for your interest, man. Bye.
Okay, bye.